we like to be outdoors because we like to feel outside of ourselves and feel small. Our everyday problems feel so big. And to kind of remember that we're small and we're part of something that truly is really large.
Welcome to the Unstuck Yourself with Crystal Simmons podcast. Here, you will raise your awareness to what is, and most importantly, what isn't working for you in all areas of your life, to identify your unique abilities and superpowers, to take purposeful action. We all get stuck, and now you can unstuck yourself with me every week. Now let's get unstuck, peeps. Welcome back, peeps. It's a dope day with our special interview episode with Amanda. Amanda has always been fueled by curiosity. As a kid, it was her wandering the woods and creeks on the Southside Virginia tobacco farm where she grew up. And today, it is trying out new skills and thinking about what it means to live a purposeful life. Her core values are integrity, authenticity, and enthusiasm. I second all of that. She's a serial dabbler. Amanda enjoys writing, reading, playing piano, and being outside. She writes at her basketball-themed blog, Counting Cathedrals, and is the owner of Doah Outdoors, an outdoor experiences business aimed at making the outdoors more accessible and approachable, particularly for women and folks of color and other marginalized groups. Enjoy this dope conversation with Amanda and I. Hey, peeps. As you all know, the purpose of the Unstuck Yourself with Crystal Simmons podcast is to highlight my personal stuck moments and experiences, but also to create a safe space for others to share their stories as well. Now, Amanda, before we dig into the dopeness that you are and are creating, please let the peeps know what little Amanda, who she was, and how she paved the way for the current Amanda that sits before me today.
Little Amanda was pretty darn similar in a lot of ways to today's Amanda. I really liked what Nina Lohman said in one of your recent episodes about her little self being a diminished self. That struck a chord with me, although I think I'd replace diminished in my case with just underdeveloped. I was curious. I loved to learn, loved to explore, be around people, and all those things have kind of held true today. And those have been instincts that I've tried to follow. It feels like something innate to myself.
One, shout out to Nina. She's dope as I don't know what. So I appreciate you bringing that up and also recognizing we're so similar. Every guest that shares who their little self is, I can resonate with, or I have a story to kind of highlight. And the word that stood out to me was, it was an I word. It wasn't intuitive, but you said something.
Oh, innate.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Innate. And what were some of the things that you just knew that were innate in you and it continues to be in you?
Yeah, I think that desire to learn and explore and experience new things. If we're contrasting kids and adults, I think a lot of us in our adult lives kind of lose the skill of exploration and we just get stuck in these day-to-day routines. So it takes, some conscious choices to break out of that. So I think innately attuned to people, wanting to please people and see people do well. Yeah, I think those are all. And then when it comes to interests, I've always been interested in the outdoors, even though I never really hiked or camped as a kid. I just had a feeling that it was something I would like. I always thought I enjoyed paddling. I've always loved sports, and that's held true. Yeah, a lot of those things just feel baked into who I am.
I can listen to you talk all day. The way you describe that is so beautifully put, and it's so many points that I want to touch on, but all of you know that name my podcast episode, Fear is Boring, based off Amanda and I conversation. So this is the Amanda that I spoke about in my more recent episode. Those who haven't listened, go back and listen to it because I don't want to repeat it, but we ended up meeting through a guided hiking tour for my husband's birthday. It was so funny. I have to tell the backstory. You cool with that? about the day that we're supposed to.
Oh, please do. Yes.
So my husband thought it'd be a great idea for us to do a sunset hiking tour. It's his birthday. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. Sunrise. Thank you.
Yeah. Early morning.
Sunrise, not sunset. Thank you. And I was like, all right, that's what he wants to do. We'll get up early. All right, it's cool. Whatever. As we're driving, something tells me to just check my email. And we get a message from Amanda saying that her dog, unfortunately, had eaten or got into some
toilet bowl cleaner.
Her dog is okay, thankfully.
She's just incurably dumb, that's all.
And I was like, Devon, we are probably about 10 minutes away at this point, but we have been driving probably about 20, 30 minutes. And he was like, oh my gosh, I hope her dog is okay. And I was like, me too. And he was like, what should we do? So we just started and looked at the overlooks and just went back to our Airbnb. But Amanda hit us up. She was so sorry and just apologetic and offered to still offer us a tour and wanted to know if we were still in town for the next couple of days. Of course, we say yes. And then we met you and everything was great.
It worked out the way Kelpie was supposed to spill that toilet bowl cleaner and possibly ingest some, but be ultimately fine in the end because we spent a good 3.5 hours together.
Was it that long?
I think so. Yeah. Oh. Like I said at the end of it, I said, I'm going to go tell everybody, oh, I just hung out with my friends Crystal and Devon today. They're like, who are Crystal and Devon? But, it was just one of those magical times where you're on the same wavelength with someone. I knew that y'all were my people.
Yes. And it was cool because I left this part out where me and Devon were driving back to Airbnb and Devon was like, this worked out for the best. Mm-hmm. We would have been hiking in the dark. And I was like, yo, what? We would have been hiking in the dark. And I want to go into the hike. So when you prepare to do a hiking tour, what do you do to kind of get ready and pumped up?
It's funny you ask. I was actually thinking about that on a sunrise hike that I led this morning, that you saw the hike we did. It's gorgeous up top, and doing it at sunrise, especially when it's a really good, clear sunrise, not so cloudy, that alone is pretty inspiring enough. But I was thinking this morning, I was like, I think a lot of times what gets me up is just meeting new people. That I get to meet fun, awesome people who are in town, and it's kind of almost like a speed dating thing where I get to know them for a couple hours and, and then they're off on their merry way, hopefully, having had a great time and feeling a little more confident in themselves and in their hiking abilities. So yeah, a mix of just that I simply love to hike, but I wouldn't be getting up and doing this if it wasn't for meeting people. So I wouldn't be getting up at 3:30. So I think the people really are a big factor in my enjoyment.
Dope. The connection or the possible connection or continued connection is the motivating factor for you.
Absolutely.
Has that always been I don't know if motivation's the word. Has that always been something that you've always been attracted to, meeting new people?
It has. I come by that honest from my dad. I've never seen him, there's never someone he couldn't make them feel like he's their best friend within 5 minutes. So yeah, I've always loved to meet people. And it's funny because my day job is working from home. So this has really been nice for me to get out more and kind of scratch that itch.
And it's such a good balance because I too work from home. Before COVID hit, I was in a networking group. So that was like weekly speed dating over and over and over and over and over. And I got really good at it. For me, I would say I was always curious about people, but it was more of a let me just observe approach where I would go places. I would accompany friends, but I would be the quote unquote quiet one. And people would label me that, oh, you're so quiet, you're so quiet. And looking back, especially me kind of tapping into who little Crystal was, I used to speak up. I used to say what was on my mind. I used to ask a lot of questions. And then the response sometimes wasn't as encouraging. So I slowly started not doing that. And then found myself just being more observant. And then if I quote unquote felt comfortable around you, you get the prize of getting to know me more. Instead of realizing the prize is me getting to be me, regardless of who's around. So that's actually pretty dope that you've always had that where you wanted to be connected to people. And you had that example from your dad. Was there a time where you were with your dad and he met someone and you were like just amazed by their connection?
That happened often. I think my dad and grandfather are both small town lawyers, very much everybody knows everybody. Folks pay any way they can. Not typically what folks think of when they think of like a big high-rise building and real, sleazy, crisp suits and all that. It's different from that. He would often see people in their low points. It's the 20-something knucklehead who's gotten his fourth speeding ticket, or it's the middle-aged siblings who are needing to find proper care for their aging parent and like needs to do a guardian ad litem thing or something. So he'd meet folks at their stressful points and always kind of put them at ease and make them feel listened to, and that we're going to take care of our part, and you have enough on your plate, let us do the rest.
That's awesome. And you definitely have that in you, because even with the hike I shared on the previous episode, I was surprised at how winded I was. Amanda did tell us we could choose between a more steep route or, what would you say, like a less steep route?
Oh, yeah.
The less steep was a further distance, right? So it was 1 mile compared to like 3 miles.
It was just about half a mile longer, but a lot, not as superb of views. Like, give me the views.
Yes. We had that option of, yes, we want the views. And Bates Orthodontics pride themselves in offering a welcoming and friendly environment with top-of-the-line orthodontic work. Bates Orthodontics in Chesterfield, Virginia is your one-stop shop for child and adult orthodontics. As a Diamond Invisalign provider, Dr. Bates treats more patients with Invisalign than any other orthodontist in Chesterfield. They provide excellent quality and professional care while bringing your best smile to life. Looking for orthodontists in Chesterfield, Virginia? Stop searching nearest orthodontist to me and contact Bates Orthodontics today. They will make sure you get professional orthodontic treatment you need in a welcoming and fun environment. Book your appointment today by calling 804-207-8219 or visit batesorthodontics.com. One, I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I was confused. Like, why am I so tired? We literally just started walking. And Amanda, you were just like, yeah, we could just break. And you also shared with us what is it called? Why can't I think of any words today? The elevation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how high we went?
You went 720 feet over a mile.
No. What is that called? The height, like when
we were at the top.
Mm-hmm. Like how high up were we at?
We were at 3,080 feet.
So when I tell people that I had to take a lot of breaks, and they're like, well, you have to think about the altitude, right? Is that the word I'm looking for? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I didn't think about that. So when you have these hikes and you have people who are struggling, what is your go-to to kind of help support them?
I'm still figuring that out, honestly. I've been guiding hikes for a few months now. I think transparency is one thing. Thankfully, it is only a 1 mile trail, so the sunrise hike. So it's not terribly hard to say. I kind of, in my mind, have it split into 3 sections. So I can say, oh, well, you're almost done with this section, or, oh, we're 2/3 of the way through in total. So I think just transparency about where we are, because if they think they can't do it, then, that becomes a safety issue then. So that's number one. And I had someone less than 1/10 of a mile into the hike, and as you know, it got steep pretty quick, and she said, is the whole thing going to be like this? And I said, Yes, yes, it is. And she said, okay, I'll wait in the car. That's fine. And so her friend kept on going up with me. And I appreciated that she knew her limits.
Oh
So I think
man.
transparency and yeah, just kind of letting folks know that it's not normal to climb 720 feet in a mile. We don't do that every day. It's okay to take breaks. It's okay to be winded. I was super winded the first time I did the hike, and probably the second and third times as well.
I appreciate that. And I could not agree with you more with the transparency because you told us it was steep. And as I was walking, I was like, this is steep. Again, I have never done anything like that. So for my brain to say, yeah, steep, got it. Yep, that means an incline. Okay. But to physically move one foot in front of the other while your arms are like, you're forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. It's like, she said it was steep. She said it was steep. And just your calming presence was very helpful. And to see my husband being really excited. I think the thing for me was realizing I had to take breaks. I wasn't not going to do it because I wanted to see the views. I'm always down for different perspectives and different adventures, but it was hard. May I share some suggestions because you say you're still figuring it out?
Yeah, please do.
I would, the individual, are you a person who wants to know, are you halfway done? Are we three-quarters of the way done? Or are you a person who don't want to know and just have a lot of breaks? Because it's really that individual doing those thoughts in their head of, this is hard, oh my God, blah, 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 whatever. If they're not willing to share it, it's hard for you to help them. But I think setting them up in the beginning for them to feel like there are options. How would you like for me to best support you?
Right. This
And
is
for me,
customized to you.
yes. For
Mhm.
me, in a workout, I hate when I'm told, hey, you got 5 minutes left. Oh my gosh. Now I'm just like, all right, now I got 4 minutes and 45 seconds left. And now I got 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. But just offering that to them, that could be helpful. And also doing what you just did. Yes, it is very steep. There was nothing else you could have told me where I'm like, she should have told me about there. It was steep. You said it was rocky. You were truthful and honest. And I appreciated that. It was just me being like, oh, this is like new. Yeah.
Didn't it feel
So
good at the end of it though to have done something new and for it to have been a little hard?
y'all can't see me on video, but I'm shaking my head because words do not do it justice. And I am not going to cry, but I still see when we got to, would you say the bottom of the biggest boulder? Like where was that where we actually started going to the tip? Where it was like a
Mm.
wall, just a big
Uh-huh.
ass boulder wall. And we like it like we turned and it took my breath away. I was like, and Devon was so excited to get up there. And I just put out my phone and just videoed it as he was climbing. And he was like, come on, girl, I'm gonna leave you. And I was like, leave me. This right here is just beautiful. And to know there's so much more just a couple feet away, yes, 100,000 times worth it. Because one, I learned something about myself that I can do hard things. And I could do things that are very new to me and unknown to me. And I can struggle through it. I can take a break. I can recognize the thoughts that are going in my head that are not serving me and say out loud. Because I told Amanda, I told Devon, I am really in my head right now. This has nothing to do with y'all, but I am surprised that I need this much time to break. It is really effing me up. And when I said it, y'all were very supportive. I would just stop and then everybody else would stop. Amanda wasn't looking back like, what are you doing? She was just like, yeah, she would just keep talking, like nothing had happened. So I appreciated that where it wasn't this word stop of, yes, and now we're gonna walk up. And then if I stop, you just stop talking like, all right, we're just waiting for her to catch her breath. Like it was beautiful and never forget. I'm glad you were my first. It was so amazing.
It made my day to be next to Devon. He was sitting on one of those boulders up at the top, looking out over the valley. And I think he said it to himself more than anybody. He just kind of nodded, said, yeah, I'm a hiker. That made my whole day.
My heart, because we talk about this a lot where we have to be the ones to recognize and identify who we are. And a lot of times we wait for other people to tell us. And when he started his journey of becoming a comedian, he said that people would tell him like, "Oh, wow, you're actually like really doing it." I'm like, "Yeah, Devon, you've been doing it. You are a comedian. Do you see yourself as a comedian? You have to say it." And over time, he started saying, "Yeah, I'm a comedian." And he was like, "Yo, this is wild to say." So I would challenge anybody who is venturing into something new. We took one hike with a guided, dope ass tour guide, and we are hikers. There is no threshold of, I got to do this many hikes in order to be deemed a hiker. And that's why I want you to share your company, Amanda, and how you created it, because that's the root of it too.
Yeah, I started Doah Outdoors earlier this summer. It was an idea that I'd kind of thought on for a year or more, done some like little things to prepare, but was really nervous, really scared. I felt like if I started, then I was exposed to failure and I was exposed to other people knowing that I'd failed. If I just did it quietly on my own, no, at least no one would know if things went poorly.
Yes.
But I think that sort of fear muscle is something I've been developing over the past few years, and this is a product of it. But yeah, the whole point of Doah Outdoors is to offer outdoor experiences here in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia with an eye towards folks who find it particularly challenging or intimidating to enjoy the outdoors. Women, folks of color, folks in plus sizes, all sorts of groups like that. Because there is this idea that you have to be super intense about all things outdoors. If you're not trekking for 2 weeks in pouring rain, then you're not a hiker. Or what?
Yes.
You know, if you're just car camping, that's for pansies. And so just kind of breaking that down, because I think it's more about just communing with the outdoors and kind of communing with ourselves. We like to be outdoors because we like to feel outside of ourselves and feel small. Our everyday problems feel so big. And to kind of remember that we're small and we're part of something that truly is really large, that's really special. It kind of gets to a core human part of all of us, across those things, gender and race and all that. So that's kind of the mission behind Doah Outdoors.
When I tell you that is so stimulating, it is very intimidating. When Devon said he wanted to go hiking, there was a woman that I met through another networking group that I ended up messaging her because she would post these gorgeous pictures. And so I was like, what about shoes? What type of things should I get? And shout out to Gayla. She actually shared pictures where she was in Phoenix of her hiking, and she put me on to REI, the store with all the outdoor stuff. And they have hiking poles and sticks and the shoes and the socks and for your water to put in your backpack. And then the little tube, which is dope. That is probably the best thing that me and Devon got to go hiking was that bladder. But so intimidating. Like I just want to go hiking. It's so comforting to know that someone like you is around to ease that. And so for those who are interested in going hiking, those who thought about going hiking, what are some staple things to consider when going on your first hike? Besides booking you as a tour guide, because there was nothing wrong with that. That was the dopest. Like, you're already overwhelmed, and then you have this person who you could trust, who has been here. How many times have you hiked on humpback rock?
Oh gosh, nearing 50 now.
Oh my goodness.
30 to 50, somewhere in there.
All that experience. You're paying for all that experience, so you don't have to worry about, will I get lost? You get to just follow and enjoy the views. But yeah, what are some staple things that people should consider when they're venturing on the first hike?
Well, first of all, since you're into definitions, Crystal,
I am.
I've recently started thinking about the very word hike after seeing some charts in a magazine that there was a survey of people and the respondents were split down by race. And they asked the respondents, are you interested in hiking? And it showed, the various response rates. Some people are, some people aren't. And then they asked, are you interested in walking outdoors? And the response rates were way higher, particularly, and this, especially for non-white folks. So there is this aura of difficulty and honestly exclusivity with hiking. So I haven't fully reckoned with what that means, because when it comes to hikes like the one we did, it feels misleading to just say, just come take a walk. It's just a steep, 720-foot walk. So in some cases, I think hike might apply. But anyway, when you're thinking about hiking, to kind of break down the intimidation factor, it's really just walking outdoors. So
I am so excited that you said that, because, I know people are listening was like, that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling you that Devon, he loves doing research. So we're watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and literally there's this well-known woman who does all these hikes around the world and whatnot. And she took a hike on the beach. They were walking on the beach. My brain was like, what the F? I thought hiking is hard. Like, I'm about to take this hike over to other side of town. Hiking includes difficulty. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because sometimes words kind of mess us up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that's the first thing to think about. That it's just walking outdoors. And if that's just walking on the sidewalks of your neighborhood, or it's, walking across a flat field, or if it's a steep mountain trail, I think you can derive all the same benefits in terms of kind of the physical moving of your body and all the good things we know that does, the sort of spiritual aspect, being outdoors, getting sunlight, all that you can do in any of those settings. So that was the first thing. I think second thing, to be honest, I don't know a second thing, so we could probably just cut this out.
Well, I'm gonna, all right. So the reminder of what are some things people should consider when starting their first hike. Definitely what you said is all setting up here. I am taking a walk in nature, and I get to decide where nature is. You can start by replacing your word of, I'm gonna take a hike around the neighborhood, so that your brain is not like, it has to be hard, it has to be hard. And then you start getting into, how do I feel when I'm walking? Is it not as challenging or something like that? So it makes it like you're on to something very strong. And I love that you said that, because my mind was blown when that woman was literally on a hiking trail on the beach. And look, even my fingers are doing this. Like, it's not real.
Hiking.
Damn it. But that's what I mean. Like, recognizing that, but then, all right, practical things. What is something that people should consider? I feel like the water bladder, or just a bottle of water, that was awesome, because I had this big metal jug of water, and I can't imagine holding that. And they mentioned, you want to just easily, like, I'm like, do I really? And I was like, all right, I'll get it. And I'm like, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. And it gave me something to like distract myself too. Of this is hard. Let me just drink some water. Let me just kind of.
Practically speaking, I'd say that you don't need to run to your nearest REI or wherever.
I would agree.
Buy all the gear before you've even set foot on wherever you're going to walk. I think you need some decent tennis shoes. You don't necessarily need boots that, go up to the ankle and have that support. Just some decent tennis shoes that can handle rocks and hard surfaces. You need water. Yes, glad you mentioned water. Very important. And I'd say with good shoes and water, you can kind of get a feel for things from there. Some people like the bladders like you and Devon had. Some people like trekking poles. Some people, get really technical with the kinds of shoes they wear, that with the kinds of materials that are in their shirts.
Yeah.
But to start, I think shoes, water.
Bug spray.
Yeah, I was just about to say, permethrin is really great. I only learned about it in the past year, but it is a really effective tick treatment. And thanks to climate change, Ticks are really bad. Permethrin, it's PERMETHRIN. Permethrin. Yeah.
And y'all don't
But
hold
you
her to that if she spelled it wrong. I just needed somewhere to start because I have never heard that before.
yeah,
So thank
you
you.
treat it's deep base stuff you put on your skin, but you treat clothes with it and it kills ticks like instantly.
Okay.
So highly effective. I would definitely recommend that if you think you're going to be outdoors a lot, gardening, walking, any of that stuff. Treat your clothes with permethrin.
So do you do that? Like after you hike, you throw your clothes with it, or how do you do that?
It's actually good for the brand I've seen. I think it says either up to 6 weeks or 6
Oh,
washes, whichever
okay.
happens first. So you pre-treat it
Ah,
before you go out. Yeah, that was a good distinction to make. You pre-treat it before you go out, so then you're armed against ticks, and it's good for a while, up to those 6 weeks or 6 washes.
that's good to know. So in November, I'm actually going to California and I've been looking at going somewhere to hike then, but it is going to be probably cooler.
Hmm.
Have you been out to California?
Only briefly. I spent a brief 3-4 days in Los Angeles
Okay.
once.
So no hiking.
No hiking.
Okay. So with your company, Doah Outdoors, where you're making it more inclusive for those who may be intimidated with hiking and the word hiking and the perception that there's these equipment that you have to have, there's this special knowledge and you have to study up on it and all that other jazz, but you have all the experience where someone can reach out to you and share what their needs are, what their wants are. Currently, how do you find those individuals who are linking up with you?
Airbnb experiences has been where I've gotten most of my traffic for the guided hikes. I do have a website. I'd say marketing is a pain point for me right now in the early goings. But in the future, I think what I'm really excited for moving forward is potentially next year, starting a women's and beginners hiking group that would involve skills classes and bundles that you could buy
Oh,
into, where you pick and choose certain classes that are of interest to you. That'll be planned over the fall and winter. So we'll see how that goes. But obviously for that'll be more locally based rather than folks finding me online on Airbnb
correct.
and such.
That makes sense. And to be honest, Amanda, marketing for most people it's new. It's like learning a new language. It just
Totally
is
new.
awkward. And it appears to me you have found your sweet spot though, with offering a service where people are traveling to see these amazing views and then just pop it up a little notch like, oh, got a tour? Okay. So I would definitely commend you from doing that. And you are marketing yourself. That is marketing. You being on the podcast is marketing. So I just want you to recognize that as well. And we're going to have you come back on. But I know our time is running short. And I want to give space for you to have your think tank moment where you share something that you're stuck with currently. And we get to talk it through for about 10-15 minutes. You down for that?
That sounds great.
All right. So what are you currently stuck with?
Well, I want to mention quickly that I was stuck with when you needed me to send a short bio over to you before this episode. I agonized over it for a good 24 hours because I'm not a Goody Howard or a Nina Loman. I search titles by day and get up at 3:30 to guide hikes. And so I really struggled with how to present myself, I guess, until I remembered reading a cover letter that my aunt had written once. And she had taken a narrative approach to her cover letter, like telling a story about here's what's important to me, here are my values, and then using her job experience to illustrate that. Once I remembered that, it kind of came out. I'm like, okay, I'm going to base this around my values. I'm going to base this around, I'll sprinkle in Doah Outdoors and things that I do, but I want this to be about who I am and not what I do, because
Yes.
that's been a lot of my growth over the past few years. So I just wanted to share that. That's something I was stuck with.
And I'm like,
Something I
I can
can.
celebrate you on that because that is dope. It came out beautifully. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. Something I continue to be stuck with. And I'm not sure if this is something is that can be addressed in the life coaching realm, or if it's more of a therapy thing. Perhaps it'd be instructive for your listeners to address that sort of divide. But I think I have a contentment problem. I'm always looking on to the next thing, have a hard time kind of just being pleased with what I have. And Crystal, I have so much. I have so much to be grateful for. Yet I wake up every morning and the first thing on my mind is want, want, want. What do I want to achieve today? What do I want out of this? And I don't know, it'd just be nice to wake up from a place of fullness. And I think I can, yeah, like my circumstances are such that I could get there. It's all in my mind, it's mental. Um, yeah, fullness instead of just this constant, perpetual wanting more.
And I appreciate you putting that in the beginning of allowing the listeners to hear, like, is this coaching topic or a therapy topic?
Mm-hmm.
And the main differences with therapy and coaching is therapy is more so rooted in the past of why did this happen? Why did this occur? And going back to the instances that took place. Coaching it can refer to the past, but it's more of I'm here now and I would like to move forward. I'm aware of what's occurring, but it's causing me to not take action. It's causing me to avoid. It's causing me what is going on. So this is definitely a topic for coaching. For you, having this, because you mentioned it's a contentment problem, where did that belief come from that that was a problem?
Mm. That's a good question. um, I think it's kind of just a feeling that life is full and rich, and I wish my internal state kind of always matched the fullness and richness of my external circumstances.
So in those feelings, when you are, I want more, I want more, I want more, what feeling do you have?
I think it's a lot of it's rooted in just a need to prove myself and a need to achieve when it comes to the wanting more. And that definitely goes back way back.
With that understanding of the needing to achieve, who are you proving that to?
I think family. I think to take it back to the beginning, that's who little Amanda would have wanted to prove it to. And if I'm being honest, adult Amanda too, to an extent. I come from a family of high achievers, so we do this to ourselves. But so I'd say that primarily, and then secondarily, I guess also myself, that I'm not good enough if I'm not doing X, Y, Z. And it's getting better slowly.
And you are not alone. So many others are feeling what you feel in terms of you have other people in your family, the blood that you share, and they have, quote unquote, become very successful. They have achieved so much. Got to do the same thing. For some, might be prove my name well or do my name well and not be a disgrace. I have to. And that is completely normal. So I want you to know that. For you and little Amanda, what does success look like?
That's something I've had to do a lot of growing on, because for a while I think success was a smart sounding job. That kind of, you know, led me towards the research field out of college. And I did like research. I like data analysis. I like writing. But I kind of realized at some point that was something I only liked and not loved. And, why am I going to give so much of my time to something that I don't love and doesn't really have many lifestyle benefits? So from that point, I've grown to be a little more inclusive in my definition of success, but I think it's still like doing cool shit, like, so it's a little better than just like have this fancy job title, but there's still this pressure of like, if I'm not doing something new, if I'm not doing something cool and exciting, then, you know, then I'm not living, I'm not taking advantage of it enough or something.
And you mentioned love and time. What do those two words mean to you?
Love in the context of like work or
Mhm.
just in and out with people.
And I
I
could
think that's
rephrase it if
something
I need to.
I think when it comes to tasks or work or hobbies, love just, I guess I mean enjoyment.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you
Um,
for that clarity.
mm-hmm. And what did you say about time?
So, with the enjoyment piece, because you mentioned that you don't want to do anything that you don't enjoy and spend so much time doing it. So, I'll rephrase it in the sense of when you think about your time now, how much of that are you spending enjoying it?
I think quite a bit. It's increased since I started Doah Outdoors and have been doing the hikes and working on growing that. Um, and with my day job, I like it and it passes the time pleasurably, but it's not something I love, but it, kind of, it's flexible and works with a lot of other things I want to do, like start a business and all that. Um, Time that I spend with my wife and, with family or friends, I enjoy. Come to think of it, I guess there is a lot of time I spend doing things I feel like I have to do, but um, again, kind of towards that means of succeeding and excelling and achieving. But I think I enjoy my time, a good chunk of my time every day.
And I hear in your voice, you change your tone when you speak about the things you enjoy. You're very calm and relaxed, like spending time with my wife and doing my hikes. And then your voice peaks when you're like talking about your day job and stuff like that. What's
Mm-hmm.
the energy
Oh,
behind the
interesting.
two?
Uh, I think with the day job, I still feel like I have to qualify it a bit because it's not the smart sounding title that for so long I thought I needed to have. So maybe my voice speaking is me saying, okay, it's not like it's not being to research this or that, but wait, here's great. It allows me to travel and blah, 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 flexible hours. So maybe my voice speaking is kind of me preemptively like defending myself. And when I'm talking
And
about the things I enjoy, I don't feel like I need to justify or defend those.
how does it feel to recognize that?
It's it's illuminating. It also tells me, I guess, that I have more for all the work I have done. I have more work to do on that front of just claiming claiming the things I do and claiming my life and not having to feel ashamed of anything. I see your Brene Brown book in the background, and so I think shame is, a big factor in play in a lot of this.
So, with that awareness, because we're getting towards the end, what would you like to do with that new learning of yourself?
It's hard because I think it tells me when I think that shame is still a little bit at play. That kind of points in two directions of love and just loving myself more, and secondly, honesty. I think we talked about this on our hike, that I discovered that honesty is the tonic to shame. Shame is all about concealment and hiding oneself, and honesty, obviously, the opposite. So I don't know where that goes yet, but when I think of the antidote to that, I think love and honesty, whatever that means. I'll have to come back and have another session with you to tell you about it.
Well, Amanda, I would like to share what I see in you when you spoke about it being illuminating and you realizing that, oh, I might still be trying to prove myself. You had a big smile on your face. So it's my assumption, you can agree once I'm finished or not agree when I'm done, that you are doing it right now. Even though you had those thoughts of, I'm still proving myself and I got to legitimize this job, like it's awesome. But then you recognized it and the big smile came in your face where your body's like, okay, yes, we're doing it. So I want you to know it was there. And does that resonate with you, what I said?
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate you pointing that out.
And shame never goes away. And maybe I'm misspeaking, but for me, it still comes up. And I think the biggest thing for us all to do is to recognize it with awareness. What are you able to do? And Amanda, you said it so beautifully, being honest. I'm able to say it. And then you can take action. Action can be you pondering over it after we get off this call. You maybe listen to the episode when it gets like it's whatever you want to do. It is an action. Just thinking about it is an action. And literally you talking about it was an action too. So
yeah, I don't think I'd really linked my contentment problem with shame. But now that I think about it, so much of the contentment problem is about should, and so much of shame is about should. So definitely something to think about in there. So I'll see you next week, right?
Well, if you were my client, yes, we could book a call every week. But this is something that I always get nervous because I don't know what's going to be said. And I really just sit and let space kind of create whatever you want to bring out. So every time I do this, I'm just so thankful. And I get a little teary because I get the feels, I get the chills. And Amanda, you're doing it. And there's nothing wrong with you wanting to do something else if it's based off of who Amanda is and what she wants to do. Maybe that curious Amanda's like, oh, something shiny and new. Not like, oh, my family's going to judge me if I'm not successful. You know what I mean? But all of us do it. All of us do it. So thank you so much. All right. Tell everyone where they can find you for those guided tours. And definitely we're going to link up again because this is huge. Me and 2 other women, we actually started a group calling Loving Me Through, and we want to do pop-up events. And as you were speaking, I was like, I want to do a guided tour. I want to do that. Like,
yes.
Tell the people where they can find you.
You can check out the Doah Outdoors website at www.doah, that's DOAH, outdoors.com. There's a little contact box. Feel free to just say hi. I don't get too many of those, so I'm guaranteed to answer you. You can also check out the Doah Outdoors Facebook page. And one day when I'm better at marketing, there will also be an Instagram.
If it's needed, I have an Instagram page and I post probably the least I've ever posted in my business. So, and I'm still connecting with people. I'm still having clients be interested in potential organizations. So it's just you being you and you sharing your light and your knowledge is marketing it enough. So just know that.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on. This has been a blast.
Yay! You're so welcome. Thank you for being here. All right, bye. This was better than I expected, and listening to Amanda's voice was extremely relaxing and inspiring for me, and I hope it did the same for you. I would climb any high-ass mountain with her voice cheering me on any day. So I can't wait till we get to link up and do it again. So grateful to have met Amanda and share her professional insight and experiences with each of you who are listening today. Thank you. And if you know someone who has mentioned hiking or wants to go hiking or haven't even thought about hiking, but you want to bring them along with you, I would highly suggest you share this episode with them to support them in achieving their goals and desires of hiking or climbing high-ass mountain, or not even a high-ass mountain, just go on a hike. This could be the very thing they have been missing to take that next step and do it. So please visit Amanda's website, Doah Outdoors, which is DOAH Outdoors, and it'll be linked in today's show notes. Don't forget, you can reach out, ask any questions or concerns that you might have, run it by Amanda. She's there to connect and assist and guide. So use your resources. And thank you so much, Amanda, for being a part of the Think Tank segment of today's episode, where we partnered together to guide you through a current stuck moment you are experiencing. And because you were you and just being you, you trusted yourself to be open and curious. And by doing so, you were able to raise your awareness to the cause and the remedy to get unstuck. You got this, Amanda. And if you're currently experiencing stuck moments through your life as a listener, schedule an appointment with me today and you can complete an energetic ELI experience with me. This is a 20-minute survey that is not focused on your personality or labeling you anything. It is an assessment that focuses on your attitude and your perceptions and your view of the world and your view of other people. In addition to figuring out how you show up in the world and what changes or little tweaks that you want to make with that awareness, you get to spend 90 minutes with me as we dive into what is working for you and what isn't working for you, while we highlight your innate abilities, your God-given gifts. So then you can take purposeful action with ease and intention. Also, dope peeps, me and two other dope ass women, one named Elise, the other named Sierra, have created this community called Loving Me Through. We're having our first pop-up event where we get to come together as a community with other women. Loving Me Through is all about empowering others to find the love within themselves while still being around others. It is focused on women creating engaging conversations that impact others to do the same. And you could do so through self-trust, through networking, laughing, creating new connections, self-love, authenticity, collaboration, growth, and so many other things. So please click the link in today's show notes where it says Eventbrite. Loving Me Through is our first pop-up, and it is themed a rainbow picnic. This will be my first. If you've never heard of it, you can Google rainbow picnic. But what happens is you're gonna come dressed in your favorite color, head to toe, and you're gonna bring your favorite snacks in that same color to share and get to know each other. And we'll all have different colors on, and we get to swap and mix and match, and it's a cool way to get to know someone, but also represent what colors that you enjoy wearing, and it makes you feel your dopest self. Be prepared to enjoy engaging activities and conversations on the importance of self-love and confidence and building a support system that wants you to win. This will be in the Richmond, Virginia area, and we're going to share more details about the certain specific location. Not yet. We got to make sure it is perfect, but mark your calendar, September the 17th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. You can register now so we can ensure that we have other snacks and drinks to accommodate everyone that's able to show up. Free event. All you have to do is bring your dope self on Saturday, September 17th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And that will be in the Richmond, Virginia area. Until next time, peeps, stay curious and trust the process. I promise you, I pinky promise you, it's all worth it and more in the end. Peace.